it's been 1 week since Apple released the brand new MacBook Pro 16-inch, and this promises to be one of the most powerful mobile creation machines ever made. And I've now used it in 3 full video production cycles here on the Everyday Dad. So the question really is this worth that high Apple premium price after all that time? And does it live up to that hype? Let's find out. I'm not slamming it down. What's up everyone, I'm the Everyday Dad, and if I can figure it out, you can figure it out. So beginning this video, straight up, I do wanna mention that I am 100% an Apple user. I'm rocking the iPhone 11, I type this script on my iPad, here's the iPad right here controlling my camera, and I do all of my video editing on either my iMac Pro at home, or I've been traveling the last couple of months and I've been using a MacBook Pro 13, which I absolutely loved. Let's very quickly cover the specs of the MacBook that I'll be talking about. So I purchased, if you go on the Apple website, you can see the different entry-level tiers. I purchased the second base tier. So if you yourself walked into an Apple store today, you could purchase this model. I didn't upgrade anything about it. This is the standard version that we all can buy. So it's not the budget, but it's the base, if that makes any sense. So this model is rocking the 2.3 gigahertz 8-core i9 processor, the AMD Radeon Pro 5500. It's got 16 gigabytes of RAM and a 1 terabyte solid state drive, and the biggest, most impressive part, that beautiful 16-inch display. Now, this isn't going to be a review of the MacBook because I don't actually know how I would structure a full-on review of a laptop other than saying, gee, that's fast. I'm not really a computer guy. I'm not about specs. I'm not about refresh rates. I'm about how gear actually works if you are an online content creator, much like myself. I use all of this gear to create this content. So the things that I want to talk about today that I think are most important are the things that I really like and the things that I don't like as much after actually using this for production the last week. And by nature, I'm a pretty cheery person overall, so let's start off with the things that I like. It is a bigger list than the things I don't like. Spoiler. Dang, Everyday Dad, you spoiled the video. First off, even though I said I wasn't gonna say this computer is fast. I mean, real fast. One of the things, and I have been traveling a lot over the last year, and one of the things when I travel, I generally accept that when I'm editing on the go, is nothing approaching a reasonable price is comparable to my iMac Pro at home. That thing is insane. It has a beautiful 5K display. It's silky smooth when editing, and the second you hit export, the video renders and it's done. That's hyperbole. It is a little bit longer than that, but it goes so fast. The MacBook Pro 16, even this base model, handles 4K video like a champ. I use Final Cut Pro X for all of my editing needs, and I've yet to have a single drop frame, a single slowdown, or any issues with the computer that's added friction to my creation process. Yeah, and that's what's key, friction. You want to take out as much friction as possible. You want the creation process to be as easy as possible. And the MacBook Pro, we're editing on it right now. It's insanely smooth. It's insanely fast. Like you just saw, this is the footage that you're seeing. It's 4K, 8-bit, coming out of the GH5. Beautiful footage. And this thing has no problem chopping it up at all. Okay, I'm going to get back to editing. You get back to enjoying the video. Because the more barriers you have to actually hitting render or hitting upload, there's an exponential increase on the chance that you might not actually make anything. So the least friction, the more easy something is to use, the better. And that's what makes this more awesome. Awesome-er. While we're on the topic of performance, and yes, I do understand that MacBooks aren't really gaming rigs, but the power on hand here crushes the things that I do. I mean, I normally don't play very many video games, but when I do, I want something that runs reasonably well, like World of Warcraft Retail easily runs at 90 frames per second in the highest visual settings, where my MacBook Pro 13 would struggle to maintain 60 frames per second in a much less intense video spec. So here, I can game all day. I mean, I can't because I've got work to do, but if I wanted to, it would work. It might not be a gaming powerhouse, but for those of us reliving our glory days of Azeroth, it works great. Next up in the things I like, the 16-inch display. The key feature here is the 16-inch display. It's wonderful, and I'm sure you know by now, you've seen other content about it, but the 16-inch display is actually built into the chassis of the 15-inch. They just made the bezels of the screen less to include this Retina display, and it is gorgeous. It It's gorgeous. I'm not into preaching specs at you. I'm not going to talk about PPI or resolution or hertz or whatever, gigawatts, I'm not going to talk about that. It is one of the best displays I've ever seen. But what I really like is not necessarily the display, but I like how Apple took the existing design and updated them. And I like this for a couple of reasons. One, it means that they can spend more R&D dollars updating the internal instead of updating the shell. And two, it means that if you have cases, bags, accessories that worked with the 15-inch, they will continue to work here. I really like that. Continuing on the train of happiness, which, I mean, we will switch to the train of, it's not sadness, but the train of things that I wish could be fixed, which is not as catchy of a name. We should probably cut this. The keyboard. Apple's caught flack the last couple of years for using this butterfly keyboard that you can see on my MacBook Pro 13-inch. I personally have never had a problem with it, but I've also personally never had one fail. However, I do know people that have had serious, and I typed that in caps in the script, so you know it's a real serious problem. They've had real issues with the keyboard, necessitating several replacements. I mean, that's tough when you need to get back up to speed and something breaks. And if you're traveling, you're on the go, you may not have the time to get it replaced. So this does have a more mechanical style keyboard. Side note, it's not actually mechanical, but it's a way more robust design. Regular note. I do hope this works out better from a reliability point of view, because I'd rather have a piece of kit that lasts longer than has a neat tech improvement for like tech improvement's sake. Again, I just like gear that works. And I do really like the more tactile feel of typing on this new style of keyboard. And I mentioned this on Twitter a few days ago, that after typing out the script for one of my other videos, this is hard to describe, but it's almost like this new style of keyboard is less fatiguing to type on. Not that the other keyboards are tiring, it just feels really good. And I struggled to type out like to type my feelings on this in the script, and I'm struggling to say it now, but it's refreshing, I guess is the way to say it. And I know I did not explain that properly, but go to an Apple store, try this out, and type a 2,000 word paper on one, and you'll see what I mean. Like it feels good to type on this computer. Something else in the keyboard that I've seen the internet go crazy for is the physical escape key. It's there. There is a physical escape key. I mean, hooray, there's a physical escape key on the new MacBook. I never really care either way, but a new physical button that has messed with my head is the Touch ID button is now physical. And it took me like this whole week. I just now have gotten used to this button. I don't know why, but on the 13-inch here, as you can see, it's just part of the touch bar. But on the 16, it's physical. It just creeps me out. I don't know why. It took me some time to get used to it. You know, you get used to you setting your patterns, and then all of a sudden, instead of like what you expect, there's like a button in the way. It was weird. The last major thing I want to talk about positivity-wise isn't really something about the MacBook Pro 16-inch, and it has more to do with Apple's new Catalina OS, but I really like Sidecar. Sidecar is one of the best features ever. I always have my iPad with me on the go, which now means no matter where I'm at, no matter where I go, I will always have dual screens to work with. Editing or doing any kind of computer work is so much easier with dual screens. Even if it's just a tiny screen like my iPad mini right here, this is one of my favorite Apple features of recent memory. And I know a lot of people are like, Sidecar, but you get to share in this excitement because it's very useful and it's relatable, and I've been using it a lot because it's great. Now let's talk about some things that I don't like as much. And I did say earlier there are things that I don't like, but there aren't really that many. There aren't that many. I mean, okay, let's changing gears. The big one, and yes, I know I should just peel the Band-Aid of hope off because I complain about this every time I talk about MacBook, and I know it's never coming back, but it's still something that I will complain about. It's the port situation. I mean, look at that. All you get here is USB-C. And I love USB-C. I love the functionality that you can get out of this port. I just hate needing a dongle to do anything with this computer. Here, hold on. Look. This is my dongle, and we have a love-hate relationship with each other. I love all the functionality it provides me. Look, it gives me HDMI, lots of USB. Ethernet, SD card, I love it. But I don't like when it fails, or if I forget to bring it, or how darn hot it gets when all it's doing is providing HDMI out to my main monitor. Like, this is great, and I get it. I get it. We want the MacBook to be as small as physically possible to show our true dominion over physical science. But would an SD card slot really kill us? I'm afraid to even say how happy I am that there's still a headphone jack, because saying that means, I don't want to say it too loud, because goodness knows that'll be the next thing on the chopping block. It is, the headphone jack is a little bit wider than the USB-C, so we might be able to make the chassis even smaller if we take that out. Don't. And really the last major problem I have with the MacBook Pro 16 isn't the price, which, while high, it does give you a really powerful computer, and this is the first time I think it's worth that actual price. Like the 15-inch, not impressed with the 16-inch. I think it's worth the price. The problem I'm having is it's either a bug or some kind of an issue where when I wake the computer up in the morning, like 3 of the last mornings, I've had the screen like crazy oversaturated. It's oversaturated to the point where the monitor's basically useless. Like the icons are oversaturated, the background's oversaturated, everything is just so, it looks terrible. A reset will fix this problem, but it's weird to have that kind of a problem and that it keeps happening. If it was a one-time thing, whatever, glitch, blah, but it keeps happening, and this is a premium computer. It shouldn't have issues like that. But at the end of the day, so what, right? How is the MacBook Pro 16-inch model holding up after a week of use, and is it worth it for you to go get one? I love this computer. Like, it's expensive, and I really didn't like how light my wallet felt this week. But one of the things that I'm willing to invest in is my own time. You can never get time back. I'm willing to spend money to get my time back. And this thing is so much faster than my 13-inch MacBook. Like I said, I purchased a 15-inch base model about a month ago, but it didn't do anything faster than my 13-inch MacBook. Sure, there were little improvement things, but it wasn't worth like the double the cost. This computer's totally worth it. Like, this computer is totally worth it. If you make a lot of online content, I highly, double stamps, exclamation points, and a yay, I highly recommend this. And you know what? Nobody paid me to say this. I don't even have an affiliate link for you to click on to buy one. I have literally no financial incentive to tell you to buy one of these. But you should buy one of these because this computer is one of the best computers I've ever used. If you like this video, I bet you would like this video where we talk about not only do you need a computer to make content, you need a camera, right? This video will tell you about the best cameras that are currently on the market if you wanted to start your own online video production, click here. Thanks for watching.